appreciate it. And then that way we will have the speakers always in control. So I'm going to switch off now to mute, and I'll let Martin and Hilde take over, and Joanne.
Yep, and we are going to have an opportunity for questions after, at the end of the presentation. So I'd like you to hold your questions or put them in the chat. But here we go. Hilde and Larry Martin have been education volunteers at the Maryland Zoo for 20 years and members of AZAD for 17 years. Larry served on the AZAD board from 2011 to 2015 and was the chair from 2013 to 2015. Hilde and Larry both hold master's degrees. They are retired, and when not volunteering, they enjoy traveling the world. I'm so glad they can share some of their travel experiences with us. So there you go.
Okay. Please turn on both audio.
It's your turn. Yep.
Turn off audio.
No, you start talking.
Yeah, okay. Well, hi, everybody. We're here in beautiful El Valle, Panama. When AZAD asked us if we would be willing to do this presentation again after San Diego, we said yes. And we also added that if you scheduled it for February, we would actually be in El Valle at EVAC at the time. So thank you for scheduling that. Before we get started, we'd like to introduce Edgardo Griffin, who is the president of the EVAC Foundation, and his wife, Heidi Ross, who is the director of EVAC. And they're going to sit down. We're going to get up and let them have a few words. Okay?
Hello.
They're all muted. So
Okay.
Okay. Hello. Well, it's for us great pleasure to be here. Always to have Hilde and Larry here. Since I think this is the third year. That every time they arrive for us, it's just like one thing that we don't have to worry about, as we do every day, on like who is basically the face of our project, the sense that message of conservation and how important the work that we do here is. So we are always happy to have them here, and also to have this opportunity to interact with you guys. So thank you. Here's Heidi.
Yeah, I would just say it's a complete privilege to have Larry and Hilde as volunteers here. So customer service, and it's not maybe as great here, so we are extraordinarily lucky and privileged to have people come from all over the world, and the face, like Edgardo said, the face of our project is met by people with such passion and that can clearly communicate, and we get wonderful, crazy reviews when they're here on Google. And so we're just really, this opportunity has worked out really well, and extending it for maybe other people in the future to have this opportunity to come and interact and with the guests and share your passions.
Well, you'll have to ask them if they will agree with that first.
So, thank you.
So thank you. I don't know if you have any questions for us, or Heidi. That's the whole Heidi. You were only seeing half of it.
That's a lot.
it's Heidi and Hilde.
So thank you guys. Wish you the best, and remember, you can always come visit Panama and know firsthand our project.
And there's no snowstorms here.
But it rains like crazy.
It rains like crazy. Yeah. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I'm not sure. See you. Okay. And now here we are.
Okay. lean over here so we'll go. So that was a little extra that wasn't part of the San Diego presentation. So now we'll actually get into that presentation with it's had a few modifications, and we'll tell you about that as we go. So we're going to share the screen now.
Mhm.
Okay, can you guys all see that?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So our presentation was called Going for Gold in Panama. And the gold we were going for was actually the Panamanian golden frog and not a gold medal. Let's do the slideshow. I think I have to do that here. Hold it a second. We're having a technical difficulty.
Already.
Wait a minute. What do we do here? We have to
Exit
exit.
Escape.
Yeah.
And find the other one.
Okay. Now
Here,
share.
and go for the,
Now go back here again.
yeah.
Here again.
Here.
There. And over here. To slideshow from the beginning.
Let's
Okay.
hope this works better.
Okay. There we go. So we were first introduced to the Panamanian golden frog back in July of 2010 when we were trained as exhibit guides for the new Panamanian golden frog exhibit at our zoo. So a few fun facts about the Panamanian golden frog. They're a rare toad that lives in Panama. So they're called a Panamanian golden frog, but they're actually a toad. They secrete a poison to protect themselves from predators. And they have an interesting way of communicating. They wave their hands at rivals and prospective mates. And this may be either friendly or aggressive. Now, they're endemic to Panama. They're carnivores and diurnal, and their lifespan is about 12 years. They're about 1.5 to 2 inches in length. They live in natural habitat here in the cloud forest and the mountainous slopes of western central Panama, which is where we are right now. This foggy, cloudy mountain here, we're sort of down at the bottom of that. They live close to fast-moving streams, fast-flowing streams. And as I mentioned on that earlier slide, because they often can't hear each other because of the fast-flowing water, they develop this semaphore language where they wave to each other. The Panamanian golden frog is a cultural icon of good luck. And in 2010, it became the national symbol of Panama, like the bald eagle is in the US. This slide here shows how the Panamanian golden frog is seen everywhere. It's in restaurants, hotels, lottery tickets, beer brands, and trinkets. It's everywhere.
Well, we say everywhere, but the Panamanian golden frog has actually not been seen in the wild since 2009. So they started disappearing here when the chytrid fungus, a type of chytrid fungus, a microscopic fungus, which was accidentally introduced here in the New World, swept through Central America and reached El Valle around 2004, 2006. So this fungus has an incredibly fast life cycle. It goes from free-swimming spores that land on the skin of an amphibian, grow into the skin and into fungus bodies, and produce and release a whole bunch of more spores in just 5 days. Fortunately, not every amphibian is the same sensitive, is affected in the same way, but golden frogs are one of the extremely sensitive species and usually will die within a few weeks if not treated. when local people here, the local amphibian fans like Edgardo and Heidi, like that you just met, and scientists from also the United States saw what was going on. They were determined not to let the species go extinct completely. They started collecting the remaining frogs and founded Project Golden Frog, which connects conservation organizations here in Panama and the US in an effort to help them save from extinction. Project Golden Frog evolved into Project Golden Frog is one of the 5 signature animal programs of the Maryland Zoo. And that means that the zoo has a long history of husbandry, medical care, research, and education initiatives linked to conservation efforts here in the wild. The zoo also provides financial support and sends staff to the natural range of the species in question, in this case, Panama. In 2007, the El Valle Amphibian Conservation Center, or in short, EVAC, was established here in El Valle, Panama. And then that later evolved into EVAC Foundation in 2019, which is a Panamanian nonprofit organization. The foundation has a specialized facility here focused on the rescue, captive breeding, and scientific research of threatened amphibians native to Panama. And now we're going to take you outside. I hope I can make it before the storm comes in. So we'll see what that gives. Do we have to get out this first? Do we have get out of the sharing or not?
Well, I think so.
Let's see.
Probably get out of it, but do it first.
I'm going to stop sharing here for a minute. Can I close this completely?
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Is it good?
Yeah. Turn it around.
So we're outside now. Nothing too much to see in this direction, but we're going. Can you still hear me? Can you still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, still going around, and we're starting to approach the breeding facility. This is one of the couple of things that we have here. We're approaching. Hopefully I'm not making you all too dizzy. Yep, there we go. Can you see in the distance those container with the golden frog on it?
Yes.
Yep. So this is our breeding facility. It's very simple. It's actually just a couple of modified shipping containers, with the one in the middle totally dedicated to the breeding of the golden frog here. There's another one that you can't see very well because of the banana trees, but this is where the other Panamanian amphibians are being bred in captivity. And then the one a little bit more towards the left, and that is the breeding container where we actually breed our food for the frogs. They all need to eat live insects, and we didn't want to be dependent from the supply chain dependent on the supply chain. We want to make sure that we always have enough food for them to eat. It's a little bit labor intensive, but it is a lot cheaper and more reliable to do it ourselves. So this is pretty simple, but very effective. The breeding containers themselves are not accessible to the public, obviously. Everything needs to be laboratory clean. So this is only accessible to the staff here that works there. In the meantime, let's do the other thing first here. What we also take care of here is give people access to a small nature trail close by with a separate admission. You see maybe the entrance in the distance. I can't go much further because we will lose connection. But so there's a
a beautiful nature trail, not too long, but just perfect to get you an idea of what's around here. It has a good variety of wildlife, and people enjoy walking the trail. And part of the admission will also go to EVAC, so that's great for us as well. In the meantime, we're kind of looking around. I hope you can see the mountains. Is that clear?
Yes.
Walking back a little bit more to give you a better view. And those mountains are actually the rim of an old volcano here. And the town of El Valle is located in the crater of the old volcano, and the surrounding slopes was the perfect habitat for the golden frog. So this is where they love to live, in the cloud forests on the slopes. It's cooler there, and it's always way more humid than here in the valley. So here you see the former pristine habitat of the frogs, minus the frogs. And then we're gonna approach the center just the way the visitors approach the center normally when they come to visit us. Yeah, there we go. You got a little building in view. So here we are. It's very small, but very effective. So it's you see it's wrapped in a kind of a film that shows the golden frog, or a couple of golden frogs. And this was actually provided through our zoo. They kind of made it a little bit more attractive by having the golden frog right looking at you as you approach the building. Still in view. There we go. And now we're going to go inside. And there is Larry greeting us. So it says, welcome, EVAC Foundation, Sanctuary of the Golden Frog, and the nature trail of the square trees. We'll tell you a little bit about that later. That's not the main focus, obviously, but this is what people can do here. Yeah, we showed around. You see the dark sky, and we're gonna hurry inside because I already feel the sprinkles coming. But at least we got this. So here we are. So here's the small visitor center, which of course has in the back the terrariums with the golden frogs and the other frog species. But in the before or after your visit, people can also have a look at the little gift shop where you can buy all kinds of stuff frog related. Yeah, we'll come back to this, but since last year we also have, let me see, yeah, maps of Panama and the world, and where visitors can put a pin in the places where they come from, so we have a better idea of what kind of visitors we have here. So this is it, and I'll take you back. Oh yeah, just hold on a second. I don't know if you can see this. When they come in, why don't you sit in your chair, Larry? Then they can actually see how you greet the visitors. So, welcome.
They come in the door, we say hello, we greet them, we ask them where they're from. We have them sign visitor log. We find out if they want to have a tour of the frogs, or if they want to walk on the nature trail to see the square trees. And based on what they want to do, we collect their admission fee, mark them down on this high-tech way of keeping track of who goes where. And then we send them on back to the frog exhibit. Are you going to take it back in there?
Well, I don't know if if the rest of the slides will match that way. I think we had a little something in between here.
Okay,
Let's see.
good, stop
Yeah,
it.
we'll stop it here and
But don't you want to show them around there before we get into the
leave
it?
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's best to take you out now, even though the explanation about the rest of the place comes later, but then we don't have to move around too much more. So the people who decide they want to visit the frogs will be ushered into here, into this little sanctuary. So there's several terrariums. You see? The main one, of course, is the golden frog one, and that's the one you see like right here with the golden frog on top of it. And a bit of, for every frog, some explanation. Whoops, I think I'm making you all dizzy now. There you go. And then it's time for the people to look for the frogs and for us to give the explanation. But now we'll take you back and explain to you how we got involved in this project.
Okay, we're back. Okay, so in April of 2023, the Maryland Zoo facilitated a virtual evac field talk with their lead veterinarian, Dr. Ellen Bronson, who was down here helping on Project Golden Frog. She was assisting Director Heidi Ross inside the breeding facility. We got to get to that slide.
Oh yeah, we have to.
Coming back to sharing the slides.
The other one.
Whatever.
Well, if it doesn't advance, it's the other one, right? This one.
Yeah. Okay.
Where's it now? It's not the end. Here we go. Right? Show. Beginning. There we are.
Leave these up there.
Mhm. Why don't you call this one?
I'll show slide. It's on stuff.
Do you see, what do you see on your screen right now?
We see your whole monitor screen. We see the slides down the side and then the main slide
Yeah.
off to the
Trying
right.
to think the-
This one? But it didn't advance. Okay, there we
Yeah,
go.
we think we're fixed here. Okay, so this was the field talk with Heidi and Dr. Ellen Ross.
Bronson.
Heidi Ross and Dr. Ellen Bronson talking from the breeding facility. During their talk, they made some key points. Most of all, that there was a lot of effort and passion that has given hope to the many challenges that they had here. Big challenge is limited staff. They always need help to run the place. Always funding issues. They need financial support from other zoos, from grants, from corporations, anywhere they can get money from, and also the need to raise awareness about the plight of the Panamanian golden frog. Well, I'm going to go back one slide here. You see at the bottom of the slide here with Dr. Ellen and Heidi, it says, would you accept volunteers to work at the visitor center? Well, there's our Maryland volunteers. And the thing is that that had never come up before. That was a new idea that had never been considered. And it caused the zoo to have to think outside the box a little bit. They had concerns about competence, about dependability, experience, trustworthiness. The zoo had a long time relationship with Heidi and Edgardo that you met a little earlier, and they don't want to do anything that was going to jeopardize their partnership. So they had to be sure that whoever they sent down here to volunteer would meet certain criteria. So we felt that we were perfect for the job because we had skills and experience that they needed. For example, we were already trained as Panamanian golden frog exhibit guides. We had experience running a visitor center when we volunteered in Alaska, and we have experience handling money. So we persisted as opportunities presented themselves when we were on grounds or at events or social functions, and we saw Dr. Ellen or people from the Conservation Committee. We always reminded them and asked them, has any progress been made on deciding whether we can go down to Panama? Well, eventually the idea started to gain some traction, and as time passed, it finally gained acceptance and enthusiasm. So the next thing was they had to come up with a procedure to approve us to come down here. So we were asked to submit a standard pre-proposal conservation action form. This is a form that any staff member or any volunteer has to fill out to suggest a new conservation idea. We had to provide a copy of our resume with our volunteer experience, and we had to obtain approval from the zoo's conservation department, the curator of herps, the director of volunteer programs, and finally the director and CEO of the zoo. We finally got that approval in December of 2023.
So once we were approved, we had to start our own action. And the first thing we did was we met with the conservation programs manager of the Maryland Zoo, who had been to EVAC earlier in the year. So she gave us more info on travel to Panama in general and how the visitor center actually worked. Then we took it upon ourselves to rewatch the virtual field talk to be in tune with what was needed here, research some of the history that was available on older YouTube videos. We also reviewed the zoo's Panamanian golden frog training materials just to refresh our memory. And we finally communicated with Heidi just to introduce ourselves because she had never even heard of us at that point, and to finalize the dates to come over. We had to take care of some practical preparations too, obviously. So you see here on the map of all of Panama, in the center, pretty much in the center is that red arrow that points to Panama City, which is where the airplanes, international air flights arrive. But El Valle is not in the city, obviously. It's in the more in the interior, in the old crater of an old extinct volcano. It's about 2 hours southwest and then into the interior. So what we're going to do, we first, Larry got into action checking for flights, and there's a good number of choices. There's even direct flights now to Panama City. So that makes, you can arrive at any time of the day, basically. So it's really up to you how you want to do it. we had to find lodging in El Valle because it is a popular tourist destination now, a little eco-tourism destination, popular with Panamanians and foreigners alike. So because of the great location and the climate. So it gives a variety of lodging options, going from very basic lodging like Airbnbs and casitas and youth hostels, vacation homes, from simple to very luxurious hotels. So there's something for everybody. But given our longer stay, about 3 weeks, and then later on for a whole month, we chose for an Airbnb, which was affordable and very comfortable. We also wanted to be independent. It's perfectly possible to go from Panama City to El Valle on a bus, which is very, very cheap and doable. But then once you're here, we also wanted to be independent to get to the evac center itself and getting around. So we rented a car, also doable.
Okay, so we landed in Panama City. We got our rental car and we drove 2 hours to El Valle. And these are the signs that greet you as you enter into the village. One is into the valley itself, and the other one is into the village of El Valle. Well, we had a brief training the night before. We met with Heidi and Edgardo, and we got a 2 hour orientation on what was expected here, what to do, and so forth. So we were all excited, ready to go on the following Monday morning. Well, overnight there was a power outage, and when we came in the next morning, all the timers were off, the pumps weren't working, and there was a flood on the floor. So we truly had a baptism by fire. But once we got through that, we were able to, from the first day, we were able to work independently. And we were always connected by WhatsApp. We had a group chat with Edgardo and Heidi in case something unexpected came up. And sometimes it did. So here we are in front of the visitor center and showing that we always represented our zoo. We always had some identification that we were from the Maryland Zoo, my hat, our shirts, and that often prompted conversation. People would come in from all different states in the United States and Canada. They'd come in and they'd say, "Oh, Maryland Zoo, you guys from the Maryland Zoo?" And we would get to explain what the relationship was between the Maryland Zoo and EVAC, that they're one of our signature conservation partners, and that we're able to come down here and represent our zoo while volunteering. So what were our daily tasks? Well, as you saw before when we came in, I sit at the desk here and I greet people, have them sign the book, collect their fee, tell them what they can do here and so forth. And then you can see here on the left, the visitor is asking what he can do, and I'm asking him to sign the book. And then on the other side here, the people are actually signing. And then, oh, okay. Yeah, so after if they say they want to do the frogs, we have them sign the log, collect their fee, and then we invite them to go back to where the frogs are that you saw earlier.
So yeah, with the live feed, I already brought you into the little sanctuary there. That's where we start the tour with the people. As you saw, there's multiple terrariums there. The main one being the golden frog, and then some of the other Panamanian and Central American amphibian species. A self-guided tour would be perfectly possible because there's pretty good signage in both English and Spanish, as you can see, which was also provided by our zoo a couple of years ago. However, as soon as we go in there, our zoo educator instincts kick in, and we prefer to give individual tours. We think that's the most effective way to connect to visitors, get them engaged and raise awareness. And for sure, since we've been doing this, it turns out that the individual approach really resulted in more visitors through word of mouth. A lot of people are very excited to talk to us about the golden frog, and then they come away with a message that they pass on to other visitors who are also curious to come in and see.
If I could just insert something
Sure.
here, just the other day, we had some visitors come in and they were in a completely different part of Panama. And while they were there, they talked to some people who told them that they should come, well, they came to El Valle, that they should visit the evac. So word is getting around, not just here in El Valle, but also in other parts of Panama.
Because it's very difficult to actually, well, not very difficult, but hard, rather hard to actually locate the individual amphibians in their terrarium. I will now continue with a little bit of the explanation about them with slides, because otherwise we would spend a whole lot of time with the camera trying to find them, and it's probably going to be very difficult. But for this, okay, let's start. It's a good, yeah. So the star of the show is, of course, the Panamanian golden frog, with now 4 individuals that you can see. We exhibit only females in here. It's nice because they're a little bit bigger than the males, so just slightly easier to identify. And even though they're very brightly colored, you still have to look between the leaves and under the ledges to find them. But it is kind of a fun search for the visitors. The tank is actually a recreation of their natural habitat, except for the trees, which they don't really use anyway, except for the shade. But it exhibits a flowing stream surrounded by vegetation, very high humidity, and slightly cooler temperatures than the surrounding environment, which of course we provide through air conditioning. But it perfectly mimics the place where they live. The majority of people, surprisingly, even some of the locals, have never even seen a golden frog in nature, and they are unaware of the plight of the golden frog. I'm not saying that nobody is, but there's very you can tell the story to 100 people, and 95 of them it will be big news to them what you're telling. So that's always a revelation to the majority of the public, and that's great for us, of course. After giving them a chance to kind of look around and admire the frogs, we tell the whole story about their decline. Why is it that they cannot be found in nature anymore? And now we know it's because of the chytrid fungus. And then we also talk about the conservation efforts going on here in EVAC itself, and the role of our zoo, who happened to be one of the first ones to successfully breed them in captivity. And then after people understand the major effort that goes into this, we let them also explore some of the other terrariums which represent some of the biodiversity of Panama. Each one of the tanks or the terrariums houses a species, and we can always find a fun story about them to tell, so people come away with a bit of a better understanding. So we're starting, I'm going to give you the virtual tour now as well. We'll start with the species on the right, and that is a harlequin, varied harlequin frog. For the longest time, they thought it was actually the same species as the golden frog. It is not, but it's very similar. It suffers from one additional threat in addition to all the other things that amphibians already suffer from, and it's the introduction of an invasive species, an invasive fish species that eats a lot of the eggs of the amphibian. Another lesson learned for people in general: don't introduce anything into the environment that you don't know what the consequences will be, because it can be detrimental to the species. On the left-hand side is one of the very small ones, but very intriguing species. It's one of the many representatives of the poison dart frog family. We have this green and black and green poison dart frog as a representative, and it really speaks to the imagination of the people. When you say toxic poison, they all want to know about it. How toxic? How can I die from it? So it's another opportunity to teach them something about amphibians or the many different ways amphibians occur in nature. This is one of the ones where the pet rate can do a number on them. Of course, if it's the illegal pet rate, every specimen you take out of nature does not contribute to the natural population, which can be harmful as well. Then, even though toxic species are always fun to talk about, there's a whole bunch of amphibians that are perfectly edible for predators, but they come with their own special way adaptation by perfect camouflage. And these are two examples of that. The one on the left is called coronated tree frog. Pretty big, but not necessarily easy to find in the terrarium, as people find that very quickly. Then the one on the right is one that really that most people find their favorite almost at the end. They like the Panamanian golden frog, of course, but they really love this little guy. It is a horned marsupial frog. And the marsupial part refers to the fact that the female of this species has a dorsal pouch. So a pouch like a kangaroo to protect the babies, but it's on the back. And that is really a very unique case in the amphibian world. It's not the only example, but you can probably count them on the fingers of one hand, the amphibians that provide maternal care. So that is a highlight for a lot of people. Then the next one that's a favorite with most of the kids is this little strawberry poison frog, because they're tiny. Everybody thinks they're babies, which of course they're not. And they come in many different color forms, all the same species though. And they're very active during the day. One of the most active ones we have here. So they're just fun to watch. Also toxic. And then we have, it's not the very last one yet. We also have representatives of a bigger family of glass frogs. The name refers to the fact that their skin is semi-transparent or translucent, if you want. And they're very tiny, hard to find, but once you find them, it's pretty exciting. And of course, our goal is always to give very accurate information, accurate facts. We don't want to come up with stories, but once in a while, Larry will slip in a little joke to keep it light.
Yeah, I like to say that these glass frogs, they are semi-transparent. You can see their internal organs, and that's an adaptation that they made so that they didn't have to be dissected in biology class.
So in nature, they are best found by sound, by the calls they make, because they are nocturnal, so semi-transparent, hiding under the leaves, nocturnal. You're not going to find them by sight easily, but by sound, it's better. Just like bird watchers will also learn the bird calls of different birds. Even if you don't see them, they're in the environment. So the glass frogs follow a similar pattern. Oops. This is also one of the favorites of a lot of people. They're kind of their status is lesser concerned, so there's a good number left in nature, but they are just cute frogs, relatively easy to find in the terrarium at least. They're called a masked tree frog. So climbing up in the branches and with their beautiful little masked eyes. Oops. And then the very last one that I'm gonna present to you, even though that's not all you can see here, but we have to limit it, keep it a little bit limited here for the purpose of the presentation. This is a species that people might know, but not the way you see it normally and during the day. It's a strictly nocturnal species, and it's the kind of frog that Costa Rica uses as its ecotourism symbol. So it's the red-eyed tree frog. Unfortunately, when you come here during the day, you're never going to see their red eyes. They're sleeping all day long, eyes closed. And when you're really lucky, you might be able to see them stuck to the glass, which is not the best way to blend in with the environment. They have much better camouflage when they hang on the bottom side of leaves. But when you're lucky as a visitor, to see them stuck to the glass, it's really cute to see their little legs and little hands and arms all folded in and trying to be not there. So this picture is a very common view here at the center. So as far as visitors go, we have a great variety. They come as individuals, backpackers, there's families. We don't have many school groups now, because this is for the Panamanians, their school vacation, basically their summer vacation. So, but we do have sometimes summer camps, although this year it has been pretty quiet for summer camps as well. So as I said before, we try to let everybody explore and discover themselves as much as possible. And then give the necessary explanation after that. And even if it was getting very crowded, we always try to make sure that visitors come away with a better understanding of, first of all, the Panamanian golden frog and the conservation work at EVAC. And visitors come from all over. There's many locals, many Panamanians. Then lots of people coming from actually, I should go back just a little bit. These are just a few pictures just to show how people get around. You see the lady looking for the frogs, man standing around in a quiet environment. So a lot of time to talk about everything and a lot of time to give them a chance to explore. That was a bit fast. It can get a little crowded, more crowded, as you see here. There's all of a sudden a whole group of kids standing in front of the thing and actually competing with each other to find the frogs first or find them all. It can get so crowded that we have to make accommodations and split the group up in 2 or 3 just to make sure that everybody has a chance to at least see something, but we always make it work. Here, I could barely find myself in the crowd. It was so busy. And then we finally come to the maps that we've shown you before, showing that people indeed come from all over the place. This is the Panama map, and you see how many pins are in there from the city, but also from other provinces. We also have a map since last year from the world map, actually. And initially, we only knew where people came from through their login, the login sheet. But last year, we came up with a map, and now we have really a great idea, a better visualization. And you can tell Europe is chock full in 1 year. The United States and Canada is pretty well represented. Of course, Central America, that's really close by. South America, pretty good too. but we can still use some people from Asia. There's a few, but Asia and Africa are the least represented. Although every year we add on more different
We
countries
just had a family today from China,
and Australia.
Australia, right?
Yeah, it's pretty exciting for us to get this kind of
Yeah.
visitation.
Just today, it was Lithuania, Czech Republic, and yesterday it was Estonia, people coming from all over the world. So, as you might imagine, there is downtime. When you have a visitor center like this, sometimes the visitors come in peaks and valleys. So you might have an hour or so where no one comes in, and then other times it's so busy you can hardly move. So during these downtimes, we were working on other projects. Like one of the projects is to take the data from the visitor log and do data entry and put it into a database. The idea being that we have a collection of email addresses where we could send emails if they wanted to publicize something that's happening here. Also, doing gift shop inventory and other duties that needed to be done, like making little signs or things like that. So we're always involved in doing something. Also, there's a lot of financial responsibility. At the end of the day, we have to total up the money and make sure that it matches the number of people who came in and wanted to do the various things. So we have like the people who visited the trail. That money is different. The admission is different than the money for the people who wanted to see the frogs. And then children are only $1, so we have to factor that in. And then they also have this thing here that's like Venmo in the States. It's called Yappy, and they can pay on their phone. So all that has to be done at the end of each day. And here on the right, you see me holding up a $5 bill. Here in Panama, the currency is called the Balboa, but it's exactly the same as the US dollar. So the much of the money exchanged here and everywhere else are US dollars. And that's very good also for people who pay with a credit card. There's no conversion fees, so there's no foreign currency exchange fees on your credit card. I think Hilde might have tried to show you the gate when she was outside there. We have this nature trail that has square trees, and people who want to go to that trail, they pay their admission, and then one of us has to take them over and unlock the gate. This is the path that's leading up to the gate. You see some things on the left there about the golden frog, and then we unlock the gate, let them in, and it's almost like we're locking them in a prison cell. We close it behind them and lock the gate, and now they're in there, and they have to do the whole trail to let themselves out at the other end.
But they always make it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. On the trail and also just around the visitor center, you don't even have to be on the trail. There's a lot of exotic wildlife around here. These are just two examples. The bird on the left is a motmot. It's a very beautiful bird that has a long tail. And at the end of two tail feathers, there's these little round disc type things that look like ping pong paddles. That's a very unique bird. And then on the right, you see a sloth, a three-toed sloth with a baby. And that's quite an attraction when it's there. You know, if there's a sloth close by, everybody wants to see it, take pictures of it. So that creates a lot of excitement. We also have responsibilities for making sure that everything is up and running all the time, that we don't encounter any floods, that the misters are working, that the timers are set, and all that kind of stuff. So in the morning when we come in, and in the afternoon before we leave, we check all that stuff. And if during the day there would be some problem like a power outage or whatever, then when it came back, we would reset everything. Now, we sort of got a surprise. On the Friday before they arrived, we were told that two university students majoring in tourism would be arriving on Monday to start a month-long internship. And guess who was going to be in charge of training them? Well, yep, it was us. So we got these two nice young ladies from the university, and the thing was they only spoke Spanish, no English. I don't speak any Spanish, and Hilde can speak some. So it was quite a communications challenge in the beginning, a lot of Google Translate and so forth. But we got to know each other, and through a variety of body language and so forth, we were able to communicate and get the job done, showing them around. When there was downtime, we got them involved in the gift shop inventory. We got them involved in the data input for the visitor log, and it wasn't very long. They're quick learners. They were up to speed, and when Spanish-speaking people came into the center, we let them do the Spanish tour of the frogs, and they were quite excited and passionate about it. What we were surprised to find out was that even though they were majoring in tourism, they themselves had never been tourists. So they didn't know what tourists like and what they do. So a couple of times after we closed the center, we took them out and got a drink in a cafe, or we posed for pictures, just letting them know what it is that people who come to Panama want to do as tourists. And we were quite surprised when they submitted their final report to the university that they included us in it.
So that gives you a bit of an idea what we were all doing here that first season. And the takeaways of our experience here were that we were pretty confident that we made a difference and had an impact. We felt like we were good ambassadors also for our Maryland Zoo. And we felt very much appreciated by the local people here in the center. The work was not too demanding, but yet just challenging enough to not lose interest. And we also believe that we demonstrated that zoo volunteers can do the job. We think we.
That's a gecko saying hello.
I don't know if you could hear it, but there was definitely a loud gecko here. We think we opened the door for more volunteers to follow. So, but being a zoo volunteer on its own does not automatically mean that you're qualified to volunteer here at EVAC. The zoo really needed to make come up with a procedure to vet any potential future volunteers and to determine if they would be qualified. A few months after our return from our first stint here at EVAC, we shared our own experience with the volunteers from our zoo in one of our virtual meetings that happened at the time, which we call volunteer buzzes. Shortly after that, we also assisted our zoo's conservation committee and volunteer staff in developing the criteria for evaluating the skills and qualifications for potential EVAC volunteers. And those included, based on our experience here, being able to engage with visitors. That's the main thing that's important here. You have to talk to people and get them engaged.
As Heidi mentioned when she was sitting here, that customer service is really important.
And I believe that most people who are educators in zoos, like we all are, just have this quality. You just have to prove it that you're good at it. Trustworthiness is also very important, of course. You are basically responsible for running the place, even though you can call for help if something extreme would happen. But yeah, you have to be trustworthy. A basic knowledge of amphibians is mandatory, but you can learn a lot about the local amphibian wildlife here, and through literature and just from listening to reading about it here, but also from the initial what do you call it?
The training.
The training
Yeah.
we had here. We chose to be here for 3 weeks or a month, and that might be a little bit too long for most people to take vacation, but less will be accepted as well. But 2 weeks is kind of about the minimum. By the time you really get into it, I think 2 weeks is a good time. You have to be able to work independently, be punctual, flexible, because there's always things that might go wrong, and you have to come up with some solution. As we said from the beginning, we were representing our zoo, but we were not sent by our zoo. So we were totally on our own to come up with the travel arrangements and all that stuff.
At our own expense.
At our own expense as well. So a little bit of experience at foreign travel comes in handy. So you're not always like, I don't know what to do. Panama is, of course, a Spanish-speaking country, and a lot of people come from this area or from neighboring countries come to visit. So Spanish is definitely useful, but not completely required. You can get by with a little bit of Spanish and still make an impact and get visitors oriented.
We found this opportunity to be so rewarding and such fun that in January of 2025, we returned to EVAC for the second time, picking right up where we left off in 2024. And then again, we came back now in 2026. But when we came back in 2025, we had 2 new interns. The first time we had the 2 young ladies. This time we had a young man and a young woman, also majoring in tourism, and they were great. So we really had it was a blessing for us because they were able to help us as we helped them. In addition, the second time around, we were down here working beside 3 staff members from the Detroit Zoo. These folks came down and were doing repair tasks and exhibit things that didn't interfere with what we were doing. We didn't interfere with what they were doing. We were able to work beside them and get acquainted with them, and it was quite nice. We also were here with a woman named Vicki Poole, who is from the Fort Worth Zoo, and she is the contact in the States for EVAC. If people in the States make a financial donation, it goes through her at the Fort Worth Zoo before it comes here to EVAC. So this slide, we haven't updated it yet. This was from our first 2 times volunteering down here. We logged 348 volunteer hours those first 2 years, and we welcomed 1,208 trail visitors and 1,234 visitors to the frog exhibits. And of course, now those numbers are increased. The other thing was that in that last month of the second year we were here, we put up those maps, and we've had visitors from 45 different countries. It was mind-boggling that so many people from around the world came to this little tiny village of El Valle, but they did. And the other thing was that we significantly boosted EVAC's positive reviews. We put up a little sign next to the door so that when people were leaving, it asked them if they would leave a review. Of course, a lot of people say they will, but they don't, but some people do, and it's really good. Here we were at the end of the second year, I think, getting ready to leave on the last day. And we were there with Heidi and Edgardo that you met at the beginning of this talk.
When we beg to come back.
Yeah, yeah. Will you take us back? And here, before I tell you about what it's about, this picture is very cute, as you can see. August the 14th here in El Valle is National Panamanian Golden Frog Day, and the children all dress up as Panamanian golden frogs, and they have a parade through the streets. It's a big deal. And here's a picture of some of the kids having a good time. So the conclusions were that we definitely provided direct support to EVAC, but we also provided indirect support and excellent PR for the Maryland Zoo. They got the benefit of us being down here, but they didn't have to pay any money for us to be down here. So it was a good deal for them. And we demonstrated the valuable contribution that zoo volunteers can make. So the theme of the conference in San Diego was with an eye on the future. So this last slide here, our final thoughts, we said with an eye on the future, our volunteer efforts have paved the way for more zoo volunteers to follow in our footsteps, proving that dedicated individuals can indeed make a valuable difference in international conservation field assignments. And with that, we can go to questions and answers, and we're going to have our Balboa beers here. So at this point, I guess we'll
Cheers to the golden frog.
yeah, cheers to the golden frog.
And volunteering.
We'll open it up to questions.
There was a question from Bobby in the chat that said, is the Panamanian government supporting the attempts to save the golden frog?
Yes, they do, since we are, since EVAC is now EVAC Foundation, a non-profit organization, they do get some funding from the government. How much, I'm not sure, but it's they're definitely supporting it.
And also,
You
But-
don't?
Nope.
You don't? I
oh,
thought you said you did. Has it changed?
We made a proposal.
come on over.
Edgardo will clarify, we were,
He's correcting us.
I was.
Sorry.
That's
No,
okay.
no, no,
Yeah.
it's best if you,
Yeah,
because we definitely.
Can hear it right from the horse's mouth,
We
yeah.
get this.
We did a proposal some years ago, and we did get awarded with $50,000, but it was mostly to carry on some research in a protected area, to basically an inventory to describe what what was inside a watershed of one of the most important rivers of the province. We used most of the money for that, but we did get some money that we could use here. But we do not get a steady support or financial support from the government yet. We hope that will change at some point.
won't they have to approve like repatriation and all that? There'll
Yes.
be paperwork and all that stuff that they'll have to approve.
Yeah, in that aspect, yes, they do support us. They kind of allowed us to do this without all the hassle of, like permitting and all that, which we did have at the beginning, but it's not something we have to do every year.
And I think you also got some good support from the U.S. Embassy here in Panama,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Yeah.
But anyways, that's
So do they actually, but they are behind the project, maybe not financially, but they're not gonna work
support-
against you?
they support.
They support you,
in a way, yes.
in a way, yes, yeah,
Yeah.
you would like more.
Yeah.
Mostly because they don't want to fight
Yeah.
with us.
Yeah.
you know, because we would fight if they tried to
Yeah.
to stop us
Yeah.
from saving these animals.
Okay.
We have
Thank you.
questions. Any more questions for Hilde or for Larry or
Yeah.
for the staff?
Glad that you did that. I thought I'm sure they were a little bit more behind as no profit, they should have.
Yeah, they should have. What's going on in the chat here?
Can you get to it, or do you
Oh,
need?
yeah, we can find it. We can
Okay.
Okay.
got it. Please turn off. Okay, I don't see presentation, only the present. Well, that's not.
Yeah, well.
Yeah, we'll take care of everything. Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't see the presentation. Well, that's that's been addressed in the meantime. Let's see, thank you. When you talk about the poison frog, did you see it? It was poison frog. Yes, we did. The question that we're reading right now is when you talked about the poison frogs, did you see that it was a poison frog that led to the death of Navalny? We were not we're not following the news very closely here because we don't watch television here. Plus, it's sometimes hard for us to understand the local news. But several visitors have notified us of the fact. They said, "Did you hear that? Is this the frog?" I said, "Probably not exactly this frog, but."
Thank you.
But definitely, it was a neurotoxin produced by a poison dart frog that caused Navalny's death. Yeah, we heard about it.
In so many amphibians, I've learned anyway that the diet in a zoo captivity is different than what is in out in the wild, and so it'll make a difference in the degree of poisonous or the toxicity. Do you feed them the same so that they are, or do you control that a little?
It's totally controlled by by us, and it's absolutely true. Like for instance, the Panamanian golden frogs. That's the best example that I always mention. I don't go into detail during my tour about every single species, but the Panamanian golden frog is a species that primarily ate ants and termites in its natural habitat. The acidity is metabolized into some toxin of their own and concentrated in the skin, which makes them indeed toxic. How toxic, the ideas about that are a little bit different here and there. It's hard to draw conclusions about the species that was little known before it went extinct. And also you can do tests. I think a test was done with mice and it turned out to be very toxic to mice. But is the metabolism of mice and snakes and birds comparable? Who knows? So, but yes, true, the toxins come from their food and their environment. In a captive environment like here, like I said before, we breed or they breed their own food, and though here it consists of a kind of wingless fruit fly, and for some bigger species, they also have like small crickets that they give. Those are not toxic. So after generations and generations of breeding so-called toxic frogs, but providing them with non-toxic food, they will themselves become less or non-toxic. So that is yet another step or another aspect of reintroduction. You probably should not just put those frogs back in nature because they will not enjoy the protection. They might look like they are toxic, they have the warning colors, but in the long run, somebody will figure it out that they're not as toxic as they look. But yeah, absolutely true.
Okay, well, I want to thank you guys for giving us your time today and sharing your presentation with members that may not have been able to travel to San Diego for the conference. I think that's really important for us as AZAD to spread the information and education that we learn at a conference with other people. So I'm very grateful that you were willing to do this. And I thank the institution for allowing us to come in to you live live. That was really a very special treat for all of us. So I thank you for doing that. And I also want to thank those non-members who joined us today to learn more about AZAD and more about education about frogs and amphibians. So thank you so much. Joanne, do you have anything to say before we go?
Just a couple things. I noticed Gary is waving. Do you have a question?
No.
Oop, you're muted.
Gary Richter.
Unmute yourself.
Just saying goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
We do try to keep these at around an hour, a little over an hour, so that people feel that they can come and visit frequently. So
I was
So
also
before we dive-
wondering
oh.
about the possibility of reintroducing the frogs into the natural habitat. Is that how do you expect that to happen? And is it near future, or are we talking years before they can go back?
They have set up a new thing this year where some new tadpoles are being raised outside. Up
Oh.
until now, all of the breeding has been done inside. Now they're going to do some breeding on the outside and expose all of the tadpoles to the elements. So hopefully in the next year or so, we'll be able to do a controlled release where we can put so many of these Panamanian golden frogs out in the wild, surrounded by something that will contain them, and we'll see how they do. Things could have changed. The fungus may have weakened. The frogs might be more hardy. So we'll just have to wait and see. But we're a ways away from actually doing it. You wanna add something?
Yeah, this controlled release that Larry's talking about will be in a protected area and not necessarily in the habitat where they really are supposed to live, because that's very difficult to monitor. But the ultimate goal is always to bring animals back to their natural habitat. The time frame for that, we're not sure. Like when we first started learning about golden frogs in our zoo, they told us that it might be 50 years from now. So it looks like they will try at least do some experiments a little sooner than that, but no guarantee that anything works out. And what we also what our zoo also always emphasizes that is that they're working hard here, they're working hard in zoos, but there's other institutions as well, research institutions that do their part, studying very specific aspects of resistance and mutations and skin biome of frogs. So who knows what the results of that will be, but none of that is short term and with quick results.
Okay, thank you.
okay, well, thank you. Our last comment was in the chat line said, "Thank you so much for this wonderful presentation and the virtual tour." So thanks again for agreeing to do this. We are very grateful, and you guys have a safe trip home when you come.
Our pleasure.
And all I want to say is live from El Valle, Panama, it's Saturday night.
Yep.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye, thank you. How do we leave?